Good morning to all of you. In today's lectures, we'll discuss about the large volume parenterals, which is the second form of the parenteral formulations. In last lectures, we have discussed about the small volume parenterals, in which we have covered solution, suspension, emulsion, and fizzy drying product. In today's lectures, under the large volume parenterals, we discuss about the different formulations aspects of large volume parenteral, different types of large volume parenterals, the packaging system under which the FFS system that we have discussed in detail. So, what is large volume parenteral? So, as we have discussed under the small volume parenterals, the small volume parenterals, these are the dosage form, or these are the parenteral dose which contain the volume less than 100 ml. So mostly up to 20 to 30 ml volume will be there. So this particular large volume parenteral is a single dose IV fluids which is packed in a bags or a bottles which containing more than 100 ml. So the volume, on the basis of the volume, these two small volume parenterals and large volume parenterals are divided on the basis of the volume they contain. As we know, the small volume parenterals we are mostly used through the subcutaneous route or mostly for the intramuscular route. But this particular large volume, here we can see the IV fluid, intravenous fluid packages are there. So these are infusion unit. IV infusions are there. So they are administered through mostly IV routes. We are not preferring mostly subcutaneous or the intramuscular or intradermal route as compared to the small volume parenterals. So the large volume parenterals up to 1 to 2 liters volume can be filled in that particular package. So we can summarize that large volume parenteral, which is a single dose IV fluids which is packed in a bags or a bottles which containing more than 100 ml of solutions. So we know 60 to 70% of the human body weight is comprises of the fluid which contain the fluids, means like water which containing electrolytes, non-electrolytes like glucose, minerals, vitamins, and the blood cells. So this body is able to replace only about one third of the what he is lost during the exercise, like fluids, calories, and electrolytes. But sometimes several body loss, several body water loss because of the diarrhea, because of the vomiting, or because of the dehydration, so which will result in improper functioning of the nervous as well as some respiratory as well as some cardiac or as well as some digestive system also. Excessive loss of body fluids may lead to the death also. So as we know, this particular content like glucose, fat, and protein, they provide the energy. Electrolytes are there, minerals that are necessary for the fluid balance as well as for the acid-base balance, and as well as for the muscle contractions and the transmission of the nerve impulses. So these particular IV fluids, which containing these essential substances that are very important to recover the lost body fluids. जो काही लॉस झालाय बिकॉज ऑफ द डायरिया असेल, बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉमिटिंग असेल, बिकॉज ऑफ द डिहायड्रेशन असेल, so that can be overcome with the help of these essential IV preparations, and which will save the life of the patients because they're providing the water or some energy or some electrolytes to the body. So continuous infused. So they are infused continuously or intermittently over a 24 hours. So basically, this particular large volume parenteral that is most common compounded from the standard solutions or the base solutions like 0.9% of the sodium chloride or dextrose in water, 5% in water. So we can see that here they contain most of the essential content in their formulations. So basically large volume parenterals or simply LVPs, that are the sterile solutions of more than 100 ml or greater than that will be administered parenterally. There are two types, continuous infusions and a drip. So continuous infusion, here I have mentioned that is infused continuously over a 24 hours. A continuous infusions, which is also called as the maintenance infusions or the replacement infusions or the hydration infusions, which consist of the mostly base solutions with the additives. Now, continuous infusions, when it is used, so this particular continuous infusions which is used to prevent or correct the dehydrations and which will restore the electrolyte balance in a patient. Also, suppose there is an excessive loss of blood from the trauma or in the surgical procedures. So, this particular LVP that replaces the fluids in the patient who has experienced this type of loss during the trauma or during the surgical operations. And obviously, IV infusions, which is the easy ways. So, it will provide the easy vein access for the blood draw and medications administrations in a patient during the hospital stay. Second type, that is a drip. It is the second type of the LVP solution which is referred as the drip. So unlike the continuous infusions, drip solutions are used to continuously deliver the IV medications to treat a specific medical conditions. So in this case, the medications like nitroglycerin, which is administered at such a rate that to relieve the patient chest pain. So that is a dripping, means drop wise डिलिव्हर्ड केलं जातं. आपण हॉस्पिटलमध्ये वगैरे बघतो ज्यावेळी सलाईन लावलेली असते त्याच्यामध्ये एक ड्रिपर असतो की तो एक कंटिन्युअस रेट सेट करतो की त्या रेटनेच तुमचं जे काही मेडिकेशन्स आहे ते थ्रू आय व्ही रूट डिलिव्हर्ड केलं जातं. So this particular LVP, if you are considering if you are comparing the large volume parenteral with the small volume parenteral, in a small volume parenteral, you must have added some bacteriostatic agent or the antimicrobial agents to prevent the microbial contaminations. Here, most of the times we are using the base materials here, so no antimicrobial agents are added in LVP. We cannot say no, but in a small amount they have added. He revealed that mostly phenyl alcohol or the benzyl alcohol that can be used in most of the peptide replacement fluid or the protein products, large volume parenterals. They are not used in large volume parenteral because it may be dangerous to human body if it is contains in a high dose. So that precautions has to be taken while adding the antimicrobial agents in large volume parenterals. Obviously, they are isotonic, sterile, pyrogen free, and free from the particulate matters. So, this is all regarding the large volume parenterals. There are four types of large volume parenterals are there. So, type of LVP: hyper eliminations solutions, cardioplegic solutions, peritoneal dialysis solutions, and irrigating solutions. So here we'll see one by one what exactly they are. Hyper elimination solutions. So hyper elimination solutions, they are infused through the conventional tubing, means the catheter that is used, that catheter is placed directly into the subclavian veins and threaded with the through the right innominate veins into the superior vena cava. So basically, these particular hyper elimination solutions, hyper eliminations, which we call the misnomer, sometimes will lead to the which will mislead that the use of the hyper or the that hyper elimination that sometimes it will incorrectly implies that nutrients are supplied in excess of the needs, but it is not like that. So large amount of nutrients in a hypertonic solutions can be supplied through the central parenteral nutrition system, or it is also called the hyper eliminations. So hyper eliminations, a form of nutrition that is delivered into the vein. So they are not using the digestive system. So these particular hyper elimination solutions that can be used for the people who are unable to absorb the nutrient to the intestinal tract because of vomiting, that they won't stop, or severe diarrhea will be there, or intestinal disease will be there. So administrations of nutritional adequate solution through the catheter into the vena cava. So basically with these particular hyperelimination solutions, by using the catheter, it is used in the case of the long-term coma, or sometimes severe burns will be there. or severe gastrointestinal syndromes will be there. So basically, this includes the important formulation under the large volume parenteral, that is the total parenteral nutrition. So we'll discuss in detail about that later on. So this particular hyperelimination solution method, which permits the administration of the life savings or the sustained nutrients for the comatose patients, or the patient which is undergoing treatment for the esophageal obstruction surgery, or patient undergoing treatment for the GI diseases including the cancers as well as the ulcerative colitis. So this particular hyperelimination method that is used here. Then second one that here mentioned, that is a dialysis, sorry, cardioplegic solutions. Cardioplegic. So these particular solutions is used when basically the cardioplegic or the cardioplegia that combines the two Greek word, cardio meaning the heart that we all know, plegia means the paralysis. So these particular cardioplegic solutions that will be used for the stopping the heart so that surgical procedures can be done in its still in a still and bloodless field. So the cardioplegia that will refer to the solution that is used to carry out a asystole of the heart or the heart paralysis. Means ज्यावेळी open heart surgery वगैरे carried out केली जाते त्यावेळी continuously a cardioplegic solutions flow केलं जातं so that they can maintain the conditions that we required. So this particular main goal of that particular hypothermic cardioplegia, that to immediate and sustain electromechanical presence, then rapid and sustained homogeneous myocardial cooling will be there, maintenance of the therapeutic additives in effective concentrations, and periodic washout of the metabolic inhibitors throughout the heart surgery. These the cardioplegic solutions are there. So basically, one of the first physicians to use the term cardioplegia was Dr. Lam in 1957. Then his work on myocardial protections was proceeded by the Sydney Rangers in late 1880s. So at that time, Rangers and the colleagues that noticed that the tap water had the ability to increase the contractility of the heart, like due to its high calcium content. So that these particular principles they have used in this particular preparation of the cardioplegic solutions. Third one, peritoneal dialysis solution is there. It is a PD we can call peritoneal dialysis. So peritoneal dialysis, it is a type of dialysis which is used the peritoneum, mean the peritoneum regions in a person's abdomen as the membrane through which the fluid and dissolved substance are exchanged within the blood. So basically this particular peritoneal dialysis has better outcome than the hemodialysis during the first couple of the years. So basically this particular peritoneal dialysis which is used to remove the excess fluids and which will correct the electrolyte problems as well as it will remove the toxins in those with the kidney failures. There are various benefits of using the peritoneal dialysis solutions are there, having the greater flexibility and the better tolerability, mostly for those who are suffering from the heart diseases. What happens in a peritoneal dialysis solutions? In a peritoneal dialysis, a specific solution is introduced through the permanent tube in the lower abdomen and then it is removed. So this is known as a continuous ambulatory dialysis process also. So or which will carried out at night also with the assistance of the machines, one equipment that is used which is known as the automated peritoneal dialysis machines. So this particular peritoneal dialysis solutions that is most commonly or this is typically made of some content that is sodium chloride, hydrogen carbonate and osmotic agents we have added like some glucose are there. So this particular peritoneal dialysis was first carried out in 1920s, but the long-term use did not come into medical practice until the 1960s. So this is the safest and the most effective medicines which is needed in a health system for the peritoneal dialysis, which we can replace over the hemodialysis also. And the irrigating solutions are there. So these are the four types of dialysis, or sorry, four types of large volume parenterals are there. So we will discuss one by one. As I have discussed hyper elimination solutions. Hyper elimination solutions, this is also known as a total parental solution, total parental nutritionals also. So total parental nutrition, which is a modified term for the hyper eliminations. So in a hyper eliminations, a large amount of nutrients in a hypertonic solutions can be supplied via total parental nutritionals. The catheter is surgically placed into a supervena cava. Why they basically uh, supervena cava is used means the reason of the large amount of nutrients in hypertonic solutions can be supplied via the superior vena cava because of the larger diameters and high blood flow rate. So both of which quickly dilute the total parenteral solutions. Now what is total parenteral nutrition? So total parenteral nutrition is a way of supplying all the nutritional needed of the body by bypassing the digestive system and dripping the nutrient solutions directly into the veins. So total parenteral nutritionals. So IV administration of the caloric, nitrogens and other nutrients in a sufficient quantity to achieve the tissue synthesis and anabolism process. So basically total parenteral nutritionals, when we are talking about the total parenteral nutritional, consider one thing here. So suppose you are went in a restaurant and order one salad. Consider the chicken salad you have ordered. So obviously, which will say it with specific salad, which means like carrot will be there, cucumber will be there, tomato will be there. So so that all salad is set in front of you. Obviously, automatically you will start the salivate. So after that, when you eat that particular salad, the food that is travels to your stomach, where it will get broken down into the nutrients and waste. Now, waste that will continues to move through the digestive tract until it is passed in a bowel movement, whereas the other nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstreams. So these particular nutrients that are the fuels for your body cells, muscles as well as for the other organs to behave properly and perform their normal functions. So what if you had a condition that you blocked your that the black blocked your ability to eat? So which will not be means thanks to our healthcare providers that they ensure you get the balanced diet whatever the need via the intravenous nutrition. This is called as a total parenteral nutrition जे आपण घेतो दर जेवणामधून असेल त्याचं ब्रेकडाऊन होतं. तो ब्रेकडाऊन कशामध्ये होतं? दोन गोष्टींमध्ये होतं. एक तुमचा न्यूट्रिशनल रिक्वायरमेंट आणि दुसरा तुमचा वेस्ट हा तुमचा कंटिन्युअस बोवल मुवमेंट पर्यंत जातो जोपर्यंत तो बॉडी मधून बाहेर जात नाही. बट जे न्यूट्रिशनल कंटेंट आहेत जे तुमचे न्यूट्रिशन्स आहेत की तुम्हाला प्रोटीन्स कार्बोहायड्रेट जे काही ग्लुकोज वगैरे असतील ते तुम्हाला त्या फूड मधून मिळत आहेत. सो ते तुमच्या ब्लड स्ट्रीम मधून सगळीकडे तुमचे ऍब्सॉर्ब केले जाणार आहेत. सपोज जर ही सिस्टीम बंद झाली तर मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स अनकॉन्शियस पेशंट असतात किंवा की जे ओरली किंवा थ्रू द जीआय ट्रॅक काही ऍब्सॉर्ब करू शकत नाही. सो टू प्रोव्हाइड these nutritional values, this total parenteral nutrition plays very important roles. So the total parenteral nutrition is the intravenous delivery of all your or all our daily nutritional requirements. So basically it is a liquid food mixtures that when given it will bypass the mouth or the stomach as well as from the digestive tract and goes directly into the bloodstreams. If it goes too rapidly it reaches to the tissues and the organs. So basically as I have already mentioned, जर तुमचं खाणं बंद केलं तर what will be happens if you stop to eat or if if any conditions will occur that will block your ability to eat, so obviously we will not receive the nutritional content. So to overcome that, these particular total parental nutritions are there. So these particular total parental nutritions that are typically given to the patients who do not have a fully functioning digestive tract, means like an unconscious patient, those are long term coma will be there. So those having some GI diseases, gastrointestinal diseases are there. So those patients we cannot, so we can use this particular TPN. Major trauma or septicemia will be there. Septicemia, it is because of the lifetime complications or the life-threatening complications of an infection. So sepsis occurs when chemicals which are released in the bloodstream to fight any infection trigger inflammation throughout the body. So this can cause the cascades of the change of that damage the multiple organ systems, and sometimes leading to them to the fails or sometimes even resulting in a death. To the septicemia. Major trauma will be there. Major abdominal surgeries are there. Malignancy of small bowel. Malignancy, as we know, that will refer to the presence of cancerous cells that have the ability to spread to the other sides of the body, and they destroy the tissues. So in that case, suppose in malignancy in a small bowel will be there, so we cannot take the food or medications through the digestive route. So that can be overcome through the total parental nutritionals. Some radiations will be there, radiation entities will be there. So entities, radiations entities, to the inflammations of the small intestines, basically which is caused by the food or drink containing with the pathogenic microbes, uh, or like some cocaines or the radiation therapy, as well as some Crohn's diseases and the colic diseases. In that case, radiation entities will be this. Means like जे आपलं intestine आहे त्याला सूज येते. सो ऑब्विसली जे आपण GI ट्रॅक थ्रू काही डिलिव्हर्ड करत ते कुठेतरी त्याच्यामध्ये प्रॉब्लेम्स ऑफकोर्स होतात. और chemotherapy or the radiotherapy and the bone marrow transplantation will be there. Bone marrow, as we all know, is a spongy tissues which is inside of our bone and mostly hip and thigh regions. So bone marrow that contains stem cells, and that stem cell can develop into the RBCs that carries the oxygen throughout your body, as well as the white blood cells that fight against the infections, and the platelets that help with the blood clotting. So bone marrow transplantations is a procedures performed to replace the bone marrow that has been damaged or destroyed by the diseases, or sometimes due to the infections, or sometimes because of the chemotherapy. So then transplanting the blood cells which travel to the bone marrow where they reproduce new blood cells and promote the growth of the new marrow. So during that transplantation process also, we cannot deliver our food medications to the GI route or the GI tract. So this has to be overcome with the help of the TPN solution, that is the total parental nutritional solutions. And in case of the prolonged coma, we can use the TPN for those. So parental nutrition that allows the body to provide with all the basic nutrients, substrate and energy that is required for maintaining or restoring all vital body functions and for the buildup of body mass by preventing the breakdown of endogenous proteins for energy needs. So as we know, good nutrition is necessary for optimal resistance for the infections as well as for the trauma, as well as it is also necessary for the optimal efficacy of medical as well as the surgical treatment. So that's why these total parental nutritionals are very important parts of the large volume parentals, and as well as this particular formulation in various conditions that we have discussed just now. So, total parental nutrition, we can call that it is a way of supplying all the nutritional needs of the body by bypassing the digestive system and dripping the nutrient solutions directly into the veins. So, the administrations of a nutritional adequate hypertonic solutions which consisting glucose, protein, hydrogenate, minerals and vitamins through the help of the catheter into a superior vena cava or the other main veins. Basically, hyperelimination solutions or basically we can call means this particular TPN. In adults, the catheter is placed directly into the subclavian veins, but in infants or the small children, the catheter is usually threaded to the central venous locations by the jugular veins, which is entered to the subcutaneous tunnel beneath the scalp, and sometimes the umbilical vein is used for the children's. So strict aseptic conditions must be maintained because of there may be chance of the infections will be occurs as well after the placing the catheter. CXR is done to make sure that the placement is properly carried out, placement is correct. Then what of the TPN solutions are there that are mixed daily under the sterile conditions. So there are two type of IV nutritions, partial parenteral nutrition that is called the PPN and total parenteral nutrition which is called the TPN, as well as also their home parenteral nutritions are called the HPN. So PPN, that is the partial parenteral nutrition, which is given for the short period of the times and to replace some of the nutrients which are required for the daily purpose, and only provides the only supplements the normal times. But the TPNs that given to the patients who can't eat anything and must receive all the nutrients which are required for the daily purpose through intravenous lines. And HPN, that is a home parenteral nutrition, they requires as a CVC in central venous catheters. It must first, which first is inserted in a fully equipped medical facility. After it is inserted, therapy can be continued at the home. So home parental nutritionals are there: HPN, TPN, and PPN. Now, parenteral nutritional which is administered outside the digestive tract or the intravenously. So as we know, the GI tract should be used if possible because it tends to atrophy when not used. So gut bacteria can translocate to the circulatory system through the atrophied GI tract and it will increase the risk of the infection. So that's why the proper precautions has to be taken. So peripheral parenteral nutritional or peripheral venous nutritions, they are usually use the vein in the arms. So PPN feeding system usually supplement the internal feedings. So large amount of nutrients cannot be supplied via these particular peripheral veins because of the relatively small veins. Veins cannot tolerate the rush of the fluid into the vein, and that occurs when a hypertonic solution is introduced into the circulatory system. So what will happen when we are administer the hypertonic solutions into the small veins with the low blood flow? Fluid from the surrounding tissues moves into the veins due to the osmosis, and obviously the area that can become the inflamed, and mostly thrombosis can occur. That's why most of the times whenever we are using the TPN introduction, so that can be introduced to the subclavian veins. Why subclavian or supervena cava? Superior vena cava is used because which is having the larger diameters as well as which is having the high blood flow rate, and these lead to the quick dilutions of the total parenteral solutions, and that's why mostly PPN means as we have discussed PPN, that is the partial parenteral nutrition, means only the required supplements that are delivered to the uh, veins in the arms, but when we are using total parenteral nutrition it will be delivered to the superior to the catheter which is inserted into the superior vena cava or other main veins. So this recipients that provides all the nutrients in the correct quantities to ensure that the body functions normally. So there are six types of nutrients which are required to sustain the life, which are present in a total parenteral nutritionals. So that will discuss what they are. Basically, total parenteral nutritionals which contains water, so obviously sufficient to avoid the dehydrations. So 35 ml per kg per or 35 ml per degree in fever, 13% increase in water needed for each degree above 30 or 37 degrees Celsius after fever conditions असतात त्यावेळी water loss हा most of the time dehydration occurs झालेलं असतं. So 30% increase in water which we are needed for each degree above the 37 degrees Celsius. Then carbohydrate, dextrose should constitute 50 to 60% of the total calories. It is provided 1 gram, that is equal to 3.4 kilocalorie. So generally 150 grams of dextrose is given at the rate of 2 mg per kg per minute. Uh, then proteins are there, so 0.5 grams per kg per day. It will increase the increase up to uh, 1 gram of the protein provided 4 calories, so up to 1 gram per kg per day. So 1 gram of the nitrogen is equivalent to 6.3 gram of the proteins. So these are the essential substances or the essential constituents of total parental nutrients. So these are required, as already I have discussed, water or the glucose, carbohydrate, proteins that are used for providing the energy to the body, while are some minerals and the electrolytes that they provide the acid base balance or the others conditions that they can maintain to this particular constituents. Fats are also required, so 0.5 grams per kg per day. So it will gradually increase up to the 1.5 gram per kg per day. So that will equal to the 10 kilocalories. So this is fat that is mostly formed with the help of the essential fatty acids like linoleic acids. It will stabilize by the egg yolk phospholipids to main particle size of 0.13 micron. Glycerol is added also in emulsion formulations. Then minerals are there: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, and trace elements like copper, iron, zinc, and likewise. So these minerals are added in total parental nutrition and vitamins. Ascorbic acids, fat soluble vitamin A, D, E, K, that will be there. B complex, that is very much important. So the essential vitamins are there. So these are the compositions of the total parental nutrition, like your water, carbohydrates, then proteins, fats, minerals, and the zinc. So with the help of these six components, our total parental nutritional solutions is prepared. Partial parental nutritionals. So whenever the need of this particular specific ingredients will be there, then we can use the partial parental nutritional. But total parental nutritional we are using whenever body required all these nutritional substances to replace various conditions. Then second one, that is cardioplegic solutions. So as already I have discussed, cardioplegic, this is the word which is prepared with the two word. Cardio, that is means heart, and plegia, that means the paralysis. So during the heart surgery, to prevent injury to the myocardium during the reperfusions, as well as to maintain the bloodless operating field. So basically this particular cardioplegia, that terms means arresting or stopping the heart so that surgical procedures can be done in still and a bloodless way. So maintaining the bloodless operating field, that is the main aim of using the cardioplegia solutions. So cardioplegia refers to the solutions that is used to bring about asystole of the heart, that is a heart paralysis stop process. So maintains the diastolic arrest. So this is administered in a cold form. So rapid and sustained homogeneous myocardial cooling can be achieved. Also, immediate and sustained electromechanical quiescence that can be overcome. This contains slightly alkaline to compensate the metabolic acidosis. So the most common procedures for accomplishing the asystole is infusing the cold cardioplegic solutions into the coronary circulations. So this process that protects the myocardiums or the heart muscles from the damage during the period of the ischemia. So during the open heart surgery, this particular cardioplegic solution that is administered or infusing in a cold cardioplegic solutions form into the coronary circulations. Then it should be hypertonic, so it can be maintained the therapeutic additives in effective concentrations. So hypertonic is used to minimize the reperfusions injury resulting from the tissue edema. Then the main goal of hypothermic cardioplegic solutions is to immediate and sustain electrochemical quiescence or the rapid and the sustained homogeneous myocardial cooling and maintenance of the therapeutic additives in effective concentrations and periodic washout of the metabolic inhibitors. So for that purpose, these cardioplegic solutions is used. So simple thing, cardioplegic solution that is used in the open heart surgery process that will continuously flowing through the coronary circulations. The cold conditions of the cold cardioplegic solutions is introduced into the coronary circulations. So that will protect the myocardiums or the heart muscles from the damage during the ischemia or during the edema. So this will minimize the reperfusions injuries resulting from the tissue edema. Third, importantly, that is the peritoneal dialysis. So peritoneal dialysis, which is a type of dialysis which is use the peritoneum, abdomens of the peritoneum regions are. So that particular peritoneums in the person abdomen as which will act as a membrane through which the fluids and the dissolved substances are exchanged with the blood. Basically, this peritoneal dialysis (PD) it is used to remove the excess fluids. It will correct the electrolyte problems and remove the toxins within the kidney failures. So what happens in a peritoneal dialysis? In a peritoneal dialysis, a specific dialysis solutions is introduced through the permanent tube in a lower abdomen regions and then it is removed. So this process will be either in regular intervals throughout the days or in a night also with assisting with the help of machines which is called as a automated peritoneal dialysis machines or the process is called the continuous ambulatory dialysis. So these particular solutions contain sodium chloride, hydrogen carbonate, and some osmotic agents like a glucose. So this is used for removal of the toxic substances from the body, which will also aid and accelerate the excretions and to treat the acute renal insufficiency. So basically, the goal of dialysis for the patients with the chronic renal failures is to restore the compositions of the body fluids towards the normal conditions. So solutes which are transported across the semi-permeable membrane by the diffusions by concentration gradient between the dialysis fluids and the body, which will act as the driving forces here. So the dialysis solutions whose constituent concentrations are set to the approximate normal values in the body. So by diffusional transfer along with along the favorable concentration gradient, the concentration gradients of a solutes that were initially increased and then decreased tend to be the corrected. So the abnormal electrolyte concentrations will pose immediate dangers. So the dialysis concentrations of the electrolytes can be set a non-physiological level to achieve the more rapid corrections. So for that purpose, this dilutions or dialysis formulations are prepared. Then fourth one, that is the irrigating solutions. So to irrigate, flush and air the cleansing body cavities and the wounds, mostly irrigating solutions like enemas are there, or during the endoscopy there are some solutions that will travel to the to cleansing the body cavities or to clean the wound. These are called the irrigating solutions. So certain IV solutions are there that can be used as irrigating solutions, but solutions designed as irrigating solutions should not be used parenterally. So normal saline solutions are there. They are you can say sterile formulation because they are inserted into the body cavity or they are used to clean the wounds. And suppose if any damage will be there, so that solution say directly goes to the bloodstream. That's why these are the comes under the sterile formulations. So these irrigating solutions, they are not directly used as a parenteral nutrition like others. Means we are injecting it. We have delivered these particular irrigating solutions to in a cavity, in a body cavity. Anus will be there, or the rectal cavity will be there, or the intestines will be there. So to that, to flush and cleanse the body cavities. So they are called as a indicating solutions. So treatment of serious wounds includes the blood streams are there. So these are the examples of the LV fluids. Dextrose injections, commonly glucose in concentration 5, 10, 20 or 50% used for the fluids and the caloric supplements. NaCl injection, sodium chloride injections will be there, which will contains, which will common name as a normal saline solutions most commonly used. The saline bottles is the 0.9 to 3.5% concentrations are there. It will act as a fluid and electrolyte supplements. Ringer solutions is there, which contains sodium chlorides, potassium chloride, calcium chlorides in this particular percentage. It will act as the fluids and the electrolyte supplements. Lactate ringer injections are there. It will act as the systemic alkalizers or the fluids and electrolyte replacements. Mannitol injections to use as a osmotic diuresis. IV fat emulsions will act as a caloric purpose. These particular three that we most commonly know, dextrose injections, we all know sodium injections and the finger solutions are there. So these are the different examples of the LV fluids by volume parenterals. In next lectures we'll discuss about the formulations of the parenterals and FFS system. Okay, so we'll stop here.